Happy birthday,
dear Mark.
Happy birthday to you.
Thank you.
Good job.
Thank you, guys.
You look good for 54, Mark.
Yep.
Okay, Brandon, congrats on 4 years at Dancer. Part of Brandon celebrating his anniversary is we get to give him some praise and love for what we like about working with Brandon. I don't have anything, so we'll just we'll try to see if anybody else can come up with something.
Thing I like about Brandon, he doesn't beat around the bush, just do it blunt. Sometimes, yeah, just knows what he needs.
He's strong and steady, and he's helped me become better with staging. He's never not helped me when I was in need, and he's very thoughtful in his communication.
Setting catches on quick and thing, and he'll give it to you how it is, and I'm sure he'll go with it, which is nice.
I say he's like real humble, willing to ask questions about stuff that he's not sure about, and literally hilarious.
Yeah, I'd say it's always good to work with Brandon. One of my first jobs ever on my trial days, I worked with Brandon, and he just teaching me whatever he could, knowing I was new. So, yeah.
I'd say seeing Brandon grow as a project leader has been really cool. Yeah, like everybody said, he just is, doesn't sugarcoat things, just comes at it the way it is, and then also he's always willing to learn, wanting to learn, and then if something doesn't seem right, he doesn't just go with it. He like stops and questions it. So that's something I really appreciate about Brandon, is just having the mindset of questioning things that don't seem right.
Yeah, Brandon, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I think Brian has a good eye for best work and just always, looking for the best way to do something. And it's never quite satisfied with someone always thinks it can deal with it. So I just appreciate that.
Yeah, picking up on all those things, the willingness to learn and actually deeply understanding things, not just getting the gist of something, but really wants to learn. And then once he gets it, it's like deep understanding, and he can move very effectively. I think he's came from entry-level craftsman to team leader, led yellow for a little bit, and now in project leading has done really well. And then also the ability to pivot back into leading too, because that role hasn't been like full. He's been like project leader, team leader, and the ability to navigate back and forth, I think, shows a lot of humility. So thank you, Brandon. So we're going to go into the monthly topic, and I got 40 minutes. So the topic today is called creating a culture of accountability. And one thing we're going to do differently about today is to be better at this. We record this, we share this, but I watched last year's, which has a very similar topic. And when I watched it, I was grossed out by how many times I said like, right, all these transition words. And so I thought of a way to get better. Since nobody here has ever told me these, I had to figure it out myself, and I do not want to communicate that way. Part of my job is communicating, part of my job is teaching, hosting things like this. So to become a better communicator, I got to make a change. And to make a change, I decided that I would give you guys $1 each for every time I say like, or right. So based upon last month's, I would have had to give you guys each $200. So that'd be $8,000. So hopefully we're not going to go there today. But Chelsea went, is this $500?
No, it's $800.
$800. Yeah.
Well, I also was anticipating Team was going out of town too. So
Okay.
It's not necessarily all because I think you're going to say.
So the only reason Clark and Charlie are here today is because they were not going to come, but then they knew they could make a couple bucks by finding me in the fault.
And for the breakfast.
And for the breakfast. So, this doesn't count yet, but let's just say I start the meeting, creating a culture of accountability. Ding, you gonna do the ding? Every time we hear that bell, everybody gets $1. So, we're not gonna spread the dollars every time. But the idea is I'm going to become a more effective communicator because I have to. Now, this might be a little clunky for me because my boys have been making fun of me yesterday and how when I ponder, I pause and I make noises like right, like, yep. And so if I say like, or right in the same like time, that would be $3 payout. So I was trying to think why am I like this? And it builds back into creating a culture of accountability. Is it just something I've done and I've never had to fix? And so because I didn't have feedback on the way I operate, I didn't see it until I saw it and then I couldn't unsee it. So maybe we'll do so as well. Any kind of these filler words. This is going to be a challenge for me and it might feel clunky because I'm so used to navigating like this. Was there really one there?
You said so. You used it in a sentence.
All right, I have to, not a filler word, okay? So let Megan take that bell, Charlie. You're gonna be, you can like bump Megan if you think there's something. I'm gonna be a better communicator. You guys will profit from it. But this is the importance of feedback and having a culture of accountability. The accountability is I pay out money. The feedback is I wanna be better. And that's how we're gonna start this meeting. So, creating a culture of accountability. Yeah. Was it? Was it a filler word? Okay. There may be more pauses because I have to navigate a new way to communicate. But next year at this time, I should be a better communicator without this type of pause. So we're going to create a culture of accountability. And we're $1 in right now? Yeah. This is about being doers and follow-throughers, not just talkers. And I'm ultimately accountable to each one of you guys. You guys are ultimately accountable to me and the people around you and our customers. Sometimes on a YouTube video, some person will say like, oh, be your own boss. Whew. It's about $40 every time that bell goes off. Sometimes on YouTube, you'll hear videos about be your own boss, you don't have to listen to anybody, do your own thing, and I think that's bunk. I believe that you're always accountable to someone. And no matter even if you run your own business, you're ultimately accountable to customers, and if you have a team, there's a responsibility and an accountability to the people you work with. So there's 3 parts of creating a culture of accountability. The first one is clear expectations. The second one is ownership of outcomes. And the third one is feedback. At the end of this, we're gonna do a little 10-minute session on my feedback. So we're gonna move chairs out of the way. You're gonna get together with your teams, red, blue, green, orange, office team, yellow, black and white are gonna be together, purple and gray. And you're gonna have a little huddle, a little 3-minute huddle, and you guys are gonna have a speaker that tells me my flow, where I'm doing a good job, and grow. Things like this, things that I don't usually hear, but you're gonna tell me how I can get better, not just at a presentation, but in my role as a whole for you. And that's because I am accountable to you guys. So working here, when we think about a culture of accountability, and we think about clear expectations, there's got to be clear expectations to be held accountable to something. So what are some expectations of working here? So you guys all work here, including me. What are some expectations about working at Dancer? Where would you say is the framework in which you operate with?
Show up on time.
Okay.
Responsibility.
Tell me more about responsibility.
Being responsible for your safety, responsible for your equipment, responsible for getting to work on time, being respectful to others.
Yep.
Owning the word.
What's that?
Owning the word. Looking professional.
Saying yes.
Ash, you said nothing dumb?
Yeah,
Like just avoid the worst things?
yeah, anything
What's the dumbest thing you've seen here?
Somebody locking car keys in different tags. I would say gas in the oil tank was pretty good.
So that's dumb to Kyle.
We are doing so.
Not if it's in a sentence, if it's a filler word.
Right.
Okay, so we're still at 2?
You start your sentences a lot with so. A lot. So if that's one that you want to work on, then.
There was definitely one sentence where you started it.
There was a couple I didn't, but there was some glances.
Are we at 3 then? We can.
Yeah.
Are we counting the starting stuff?
Yes.
Because in flow, I mean, it makes it.
It does make sense, but you say it a lot.
I want to fix it.
Okay.
I want to fix it.
So then that was, I think there were 4. You were counting like 4.
I think we're at 4.
I'm being judged so hard right now. I get nervous presenting to you as well. So some of this comes from I am up front with everyone looking up here, and there is a sense of nervousness that comes from that. So that is why I probably use words like so all the time. That one only counts 1, so we're at 5. 5. So $5 each person right now.
Hey, Dad.
Is the bell too distracting though? Like, does it like?
We have to use the bell because if not, we'll get to the end and you'll be rich and I'll be broke.
40 times 5.
Back to gas and oil tank. That is really dumb for you, Kyle, because you have been taught that or learned that very young, right?
They're showing up to your shop and you don't work.
Yes. So there was once a guy that showed up to the shop that no longer worked here, and I had to take him home. That was dumb. No dumb stuff. But I also think you shouldn't keep your car keys in another city. Not that anyone would ever do that, Ashton. Was that an Ashton move? Yeah.
Car keys in the parking lot, found those.
Yeah. Ashton's car keys and him just do not like each other. Okay, what else? We have show up on time. To me, that means personal responsibility. If you can't navigate your own life to get here, we're probably going to have some struggles. Now, if you are late once every so often because life happens, the train happens, something happens at home, it's very different than if you're historically, habitually not here on time. Responsibility, we're going to ask you to have some responsibility for your own safety, taking care of equipment, knowing how to handle yourself on a job site. You have to own your work. It means if we give you this to work on, we want you to own it and focus on it and do a good job. You got to look professional, say yes to opportunities, coachable, a humble attitude, nothing dumb, avoid the dumbest things, which could be gas and oil tank or showing up here if you don't work here. Anything else about working here that's an expectation to work here?
Attention to detail.
We are going to be detailed people. People hire us when those details are very important. One thing I want to present by working here, though, is here's some expectations of working here. I can be known as a picky person. I have a habit of wanting to be in control of everything and want to know everything, but I don't want to be with you for every little thing of your day. What I want to do is have clear expectations or put some guardrails in place and say, hey, this is the guardrails in which you have to operate with. These expectations don't limit us, they actually give us more freedom. And it's because here's the expectations, stay within that framework, and then go out and do your job. If you think about what we do here, we're installing thousands of dollars of work each day. You're out and about leading a crew with tons of responsibility, and you really have no oversight. It's not like we're working in a factory where somebody's watching you all day. And you guys have probably worked in those jobs before too, where there's somebody on your stuff all day. You guys are empowered to go out and within that framework, work and make decisions on behalf of the business. So there's very clear expectations. Here's the framework. here's some expectations to work here. Now you can go out and make those decisions and have autonomy, which is a fancy word to say. You have some freedom to make your own decisions and operate within your own way as a dancer way. So each installation team here has a little bit different style or flavor, yet they should all be represented to feel like dancer in some way. Another job site, another expectation would be the expectation of working on a certain job site. Next week, we start another project at Mitsubishi Chemical. Mitsubishi Chemical has certain expectations to work with them. They would say, we like you guys to wear your safety glasses. Don't be the guys that take your safety glasses off. That's an expectation to work here. If you want to do our work, you have to wear safety glasses. If you want to do work, you have to keep up with dust. That's really important to us. So they set clear expectations, and we get to decide, do we want to work with them or not, based upon those expectations, which ultimately lead to accountability. At Dancer, we also each have a job to do, and I think any job we do can be done in a craft-based way. We have these rule scorecards. This is mine as the owner. I'll pass it around if you want to check it out. It lists the purpose, my 5 major roles, the skills and traits I should have, I need to continue to work on, key performance indicators, which mean what can I be measured on, and then the rhythms of my work and how it relates to each core value as well. So we all have a role scorecard. You would use this during your annual planning session. You would use this when you started here. But it's telling you the expectations. We have working here expectations, which are more vague, and then we have role scorecard expectations, which are going to be very specific to your role. For example, Chelsea and Megan have different expectations for their job. Chelsea and Mark have different expectations. Kyle and Anthony have different expectations. There's the working at dancer expectations, and then there's very specific in your role. And I think to have a culture of accountability, it also means the clear expectations.
There was a consensus on that.
Yep, that's 6, right? I'm very nervous as I speak right now. To have clear expectations, one of them is I want to be the best in what I take on. So when we think about the business, I want to run a great business. When we think about someone hiring us to do a floor, I want to make sure it's literally the best floor that they can get. And so that's a very different expectation than just trying to get by or just trying to get it done the fastest way possible. We do want to be efficient, but there is a pursuit of wanting to be the best as part of this business. So we have to create a culture of accountability. We have clear expectations. To have accountability, we need to have clear expectations. We need to be able to own our outcomes and then feedback. So on to ownership of outcomes. Who in here has bills? Anybody have bills they have to pay? So that's a very good expectation, or you own your bills, right? Who pays your bills if you don't pay your bills? Has anybody not paid a bill? Anybody just like let a bill go? I don't want to pay that bill. I just want it to go away.
I don't have to pay bills. My mom pays them.
Yep, your mom pays your bills.
You let it go, the government will pay your bills for you.
Yep. So if you don't pay your bills, they don't go away, they come after you, right? And that is because, I said right, I caught myself there.
You said like so like 5 times too.
They were real questions. They were questionable.
It was like,
7, are we at 7?
I have us at 7.
7. So we all,
Like that's so right there.
we'll do 8.
Sense is a lot with so.
It's changing. This is a great example. We all have habits like this. Mine is on display. We all have habits that have become so habitually us that don't serve us or keep us from being our best, that unless something changes, it will stay the same. So as awkward as I feel right now, I want to be and need to be a better presenter. That way, next year, this is better done. I feel like a robot. Bills. We have bills, and if we don't pay the bills, they come after us legally. That is ownership. That's how you know you own that outcome. If not me, then who? And once you get to that, you realize you own stuff. So if you don't pay your bills, they come after you. If you don't own your corners on a job site, there's not going to be another team that comes and does your corners. You own those corners. So if you have a culture of accountability, you got to own your stuff. When someone hires Dancer, we want them to say, I want to say to a customer, we got this. They hire us and it's done. They don't have to worry about stuff. We're going to ask them where to hook up power, where to get water, make sure we have our needs. We'll check in with them if we need something. But we don't want to be a burden to work with. We want them to know that you hired us, we got this, we own it. The only way we can do that as a business as a whole is the individual says, I got you, and then they follow through. And we can only follow through as a business as much as each individual here follows through when they say they got something. We have to be very careful when we say something or when we commit to something. Like if you ever commit to a large group of people that you'll pay them $1 every time you use a filler word, I have to commit up to $8,000, which I think is going to be less based upon our time. But it's very hard to do. It's very easy to say, we got this, I got you. Everyone says this during the sales process or when you're wanting to look good. When you start something, it's so easy to say yes to something because we want to be liked. We're overconfident in our abilities, but it's going to get hard. You got to follow through regardless. Apollo, when Noah and I looked at that job, we went to a pre-job meeting. It looked very simple. It looked straightforward. It looked like it would be a clear win, about 3 weeks of work. It's a big drive, but we could get through it 3 weeks. The job doesn't go as smooth. There's extra work required. And now we're on 4 weeks, and the team is still showing up, still putting it in, even though it sucks, because they say, we got this, I got you, and then our company can go to our customer and live that out. But unless the people say that, if the team stops showing up, if the team starts calling in because they're wore out from Apollo, we can't serve our customers well. I think this is going to set us apart. I think it's very rare, and you guys probably have very few experiences of people that will show up even through the crap. It's easy to have friends when things are very easy. It's harder to have friends when you really need something from them or there's some sacrifice involved with it. And I think as part of ownership of outcomes and accountability, we're either always building or losing trust. So if someone here individually continues to build trust with me and the business and their responsibilities, what happens to their career? Keep moving up. They're probably going to take on more responsibilities, right? At this level, we said, hey, you are doing a really good job. Would you want to come up here? You're doing a really good job there. Would you want to come up here? That would come with promotions, would come with additional responsibilities, would come with increased pay. So you're either building trust or you're losing trust. What happens when you start losing trust?
Get fired.
That is an option. You got to get below that line right there. Less opportunities. We have to have people watch over you. We have to double check your work. Isaiah's got the big boot. He's going to have to give you the boot. So customers make those same decisions. They're going to hire us again when we build trust, or they're going to choose someone else other than us when they lose trust. We have got jobs because competitors have lost trust with their clients, and at the same time, we're building trust. If we don't stay vigilant against these things and follow through with this, then we become the companies that lose trust. So we want to be the company that is always gaining trust and always growing with the way people are hiring us. How many is that?
12.
12. You did
Okay.
say right, and I missed it.
It's now in 13 now.
Okay. Clark wanted to buy something on Amazon last night. It's a backdrop for a wiffle ball, and it was $40. And I said no, and he said, I have the money. It's my money, I want to spend it. I said, no, we're just going to practice sitting in something you want without buying it. I think that's a good trait to have. And he said, you are going to give away thousands of dollars tomorrow for saying like and right, and I can't buy a backdrop to my wiffle ball? And I said, yes. He said two.
$1 or 13?
13 times 40? Okay. The other option is to pay someone to coach me in speaking, and they would do the same thing, and we'd have to give all that money to one person rather than give it to the team. Spread the love. Creating a culture of accountability, clear expectations, ownership of outcomes, feedback. How do we get good? Really, really good. Not just get by, but how do you get really, really good at something? I'm going to talk about work, but it could be in how do we get good at anything. One of the key traits is practice, not play. I'm going to use the example of guitar. I know very little guitar. I know a couple chords. If we were kumbayaing by a fireplace, I'm not even good enough to play at that level, but I do know a couple chords. If I wanted to get really, really good at guitar, I couldn't just every once in a while pick up a guitar and play the 3 chords I know. C, D, E. I'm just playing something I already know. If I wanted to get really good, I would have to focus on a program of study, maybe hire Chelsea if she was a great guitar player, and she would show me how to hold the guitar, and she would not let me play the C, D, and E I already know. She would say, we're gonna learn F and G. And I'm like, yeah, but my fingers kind of hurt when I do that. She's gonna say, that's actually how you get good. You have to practice that. You have to get the muscle memory so that what hurts right now becomes normal.
That's why I don't play the piano.
And I'm going to have to practice. I'm not going to be able to talk to you guys. I will have to concentrate on what I'm doing. It's going to hurt. I'm going to make mistakes, and I have to stay here for hours and hours, take a break, come back to it, hours. That's,
I want to play guitar then.
I would have to want it really, I would have to want it a lot. But that's the difference between practice and play. The same thing can be true at work. We can play work. We can show up, just go through the motions. There's going to be days where that is what you need to do because you're exhausted, you're wore out. Most of the time though, you need to have that level of practiced intensity to something if you really want to be good at something. It's regardless of the sport, it's regardless of the activity, it's regardless of anything. If you want to be really good, you have to bring practice. And practice has 2 parts. One is you need to be near your edge. You don't get better unless you're right near your edge. The same thing could be true of anything physical. If you guys have ever played a sport or worked out or tried to run further and further. Clark, you ran the fastest mile you've ever ran yesterday, right? And so a sub 7-minute mile. That, Clark has reached a point where he is now faster than me and I can't run as fast as he can. He ran last night until, did it hurt when you were running? That's how, but you've had to practice that over and over again to know or to grow in that area, correct? If you just ran as fast as me, you'd never get faster. You also need a feedback loop associated with your practice. So for Clark, for example, with the run, he can use a timer to time himself and he gets instant feedback on his performance. If you want to get good at a skill here, you need to ask people how you're doing. If I wanted to get good at guitar, I would hire a trainer that's giving me that feedback loop instantly. So what we're doing right now with the dollar pay for all this stuff is I'm getting an instant feedback loop. It feels clunkier because we're hitting a bell and it distorts my thoughts while we're doing it. If I did not do that instant feedback loop and I just did the whole presentation without the bell, we would probably be at 4 to 5x of the words. So this feedback loop, this is a practice for me, and it feels awkward. This, to me, feels like one of my worst presentations because I'm not used to not using my filler words to transition to the next subject. But this is what it takes to get better. This is what is going to force me to be a better presenter, is this instant feedback loop. DJ, if we're working together and I'm edging, if you let me edge for a year before you give me any pointers or ways to get better, that'd be a terrible way to learn edges, right? If me and you are working together and you're giving me instant feedback, I can get better faster. So to get really good at something, you need to be at your edge. You have to be at your edge. You also need a feedback loop. To receive feedback, did anybody play a sport where you watched film? So I'll use my football experience as an example. Football games were Friday night. Film was Saturday morning. During a football game, if you do something good, you get instant feedback. You get a high five, the coach hits you on top of your head, the crowd cheers. I didn't have a lot of that when I played football. You do a little dance. Sometimes, not in high school football. There was feedback instantly when you did something good, when you did something bad. If you drop a pass, if you forget your block, your teammates give you feedback right away. There's no waiting, it's instant right there feedback. During film, you would also get feedback. It would be a group of people larger than this. We'd all be watching the same screen. And I would say, Mark, you did exactly what you're supposed to do right here in your role. You blocked that, and that's why we were able to score a touchdown. Good job. Everybody congratulate Mark. You get a sticker on your hard hat for getting the block. Good job. Now there's somebody else that misses a block, Kyle. Same group. Kyle, I told you 45 times, get that block in front of the whole team. And that's what it's like to be on a sports team. At work, people are afraid to be like that because we're not used to it. So most businesses won't go there with people because they're afraid to hurt people's feelings. And that's something I would want to change at Dancer. I'm not saying that we have to watch film of every team and pinpoint people, but we do have to talk about hard stuff. And that's where feedback can be good or it can be constructive. But there has to be a posture of humility when you accept feedback. So Kyle, you knew, being on the football team, the feedback mechanism on the football team was going to be sometimes you get rough feedback. That was a clear expectation. You own the outcome to block during that play. It's very clear. Now we're getting into feedback. The only way we can have feedback is because these were true. You can't have feedback if there's no expectation. If there isn't an expectation, this room is always clean for the monthly meeting. It looks really nice in here. If this wasn't clean, it would be weird to blame Charlie for it because he doesn't have the expectation to do it. He doesn't own that outcome. That would go to Mark and Kyle, like, why didn't we get the room ready for the meeting? And so you have to have those two for this to be true. To accept feedback, you also have to have a posture of humility. Megan, you went through art school, which is known to be a very egregious feedback process. Would you say?
Yes.
Art school, you have galleries where you put your artwork up, and then critics come in, by choice, you paid for this at school, to criticize you.
When you say critics, it's
Yes, your friends. And teachers. So you paid money for people to tell you what you did wrong with art. Okay? So you had to have a posture of humility, because if you're going to go through that process, you would want to get better. You wanted to get better, so you had a posture of humility. There's clear expectations. There's ownership of outcomes. And so the expectation at Dancer is you have to be open to feedback. The word said was coachable. Coachable to me means a posture of humility, to want to be better, to want to grow. Now we have to be the giver of feedback. This means we have to be the people that share feedback. We all have a responsibility to be the receiver of, and we also have the opportunity to be the giver of. This is where people can feel nervous, and I think that's completely normal. You get nervous to share feedback. Sometimes for me, I would say, who am I to judge? I don't know what they're going through. Who am I to judge? I don't know their role as well as they do. Who am I to be the person to give that feedback? But if we don't, they don't get better. So nobody has ever told me about this. These don't count. I'm right like so. But as soon as I told the boys about it, they recognized it was an issue, and they recognized I said it all the time, but nobody's ever told me, hey Nick, I know you want to be a really good presenter for the team. You might not know this, but you say these filler words a lot, and the best communicators I've ever heard don't use those. You should see if there's a way to get better at that. That would be a very respectful way. But most people don't feel confident to be able to say that to someone. But I can't get better unless I do it. And just know that feedback is a gift to people. Because working at Dancer, there's clear expectations. We want to get better. We want to be the best. You own outcomes. And so feedback can be a gift in two ways. One is complimentary. Hey, you did a really good job. Brandon, you celebrated 4 years. This is what we like about working with you. Mondays or today, core values. This is where we see core values play out. Those are complementary. We can be nervous to share those too. One of the reasons could be you're just doing your job. Why am I complimenting you? If we want to build a business that's based on core values, we have to reiterate them over and over again. And then constructive, based upon the clear expectations to work here and your role, the outcomes that you're responsible for, this is where I see you could have some issues in growing and expanding. This is where I could see you could get in your own way and you got to pivot and adjust to get better. And anybody that's been through an annual planning session has probably seen both of these. And I always like the constructive because the flow stuff that I'm doing a good job at are things that I've already worked on years before, or I'm naturally gifted, like we all are in different ways. And so to play our strengths is normal. To grow, this takes a lot of work. So to get up here, to talk, do a board, it's a strength. The filler words, as we are learning, is a struggle. But I'm willing to sit near the edge, to practice, to get the feedback loop so I can get better.
I don't know about that.
Okay. I had 20.
I'm not
I had
counting that
22 before I did that last one.
I had 23 before you did the last one.
Oh, well. I trust Chelsea.
Not that one. 23.
23.
Or
So-
is that it? Is we're calling it?
No, we still have to do this.
That is a part of.
This is very hard. My brain hurts.
I mean, I do want to commend you. You didn't say a lot of the other filler words. So was.
And you added so like as we were starting.
I don't even want to hear it. Creating a culture of accountability, 3 parts. Clear expectations. Got to own outcomes. There must be a feedback mechanism. My annual planning happens right now. We are at right before 8. We are going to do little group huddles. get with your teams, red, blue, green, orange, office, yellow, black, white, purple, gray. DJ, if you just want to grab another team. You guys will huddle. Where do we think Nick is doing a good job? Where do we want to see him grow? Be bold, be courageous, be kind. Remember, thoughtful communication is kind, necessary, and true. You can speak positively in the grow aspect so I don't become sad today. Okay, 3 minutes, and then we're gonna do a minute each team, and then the meeting will be over. You and Clark can grab, why don't you? Time to go, everyone. Red team up first.
Jacob, I think you were nominated this person.
Red, where?
Whatever he sent out.
Let's start meeting with something good. Let's start this vibe off in a positive outpouring of your love for
But I
Baghdad.
can't.
So this will be fun.
You can't read my writing?
Big picture, overall future. You have a great grasp on that. And then grow would probably be quick trigger, kind of impulsive. Decision making, feedback.
You can pick one because I imagine other people have similar. So which one do you want?
Quick trigger.
Now this is also a good pick, right? Sometimes it's fun. Like deciding to pay you guys $1 for every ombre or so, last minute. Flow, big picture, think the future, grow, quick trigger. We would expect that someone in a leadership role in a business can take their time and it is not going to be so reactive or quick on things. Would we agree on that? The more mature a company gets, the slower that has to be. That's what we'd expect from our leader. Okay, blue, flow.
I think you're a good communicator. I think you communicate with everybody on the team in a personal level and business.
Grow.
I think we work on.
David, what you need to work on is having a confidence.
Your mood swings. I think you should work on your mood swings.
As a leader of our business today and moving forward, there should be a more even-keeledness from top leadership. When things are really good, even-keeled. When things are really bad, more even-keeled. Not yes, yes, awesome, exciting, crap, everything's going to the gutter. Okay, evenness. Green team.
Slow, just keeping us not busy, but focused with work and just always having something on schedule for us. If we grow, it's super debatable right now. We got like some different ones, but they're not really making sense right now. But we got like, say one day we grouting or something and you understand what we're doing, and the next day you're like, why are you guys doing this? But we already had this conversation, so yeah, that's what we came up with.
So confusion?
Yeah, maybe confusion and like,
Kind of like, I don't know, maybe like consistent communication. Like maybe if we're doing something one day, you may react this way, and then another day it could be like a different reaction depending on how the day is, kind of a thing. Like, yeah, just kind of situational.
He's my favorite.
I'm gonna have to get some kind of a pill for that. Situational memory.
That's good. That's good.
Office flow.
I'd say flow is taking your role seriously. So not,
What'd you say?
So he takes his role seriously, not like an absent leader. So here every day putting in the work.
Grow.
No? All right. We had a list, so.
You just have to find one that hasn't been used yet.
Yeah. I'd say clear communication. So an example we had was like getting cryptic text or like half the picture. So just real clear expectations and communication when there's a task or a project or something.
The thumbs up.
The thumbs
You got it. I said it.
No more thumbs up. I have to communicate more thoroughly with what a thumbs up means.
I can go either way.
Yellow team, or flow for yellow.
Like preaching the core values, writing down like the thought for the day, getting us to think different about work.
Yeah. Grow.
Like when we're on a job, on paper, things should go like this, but when we're on the job, things are different.
Understand realities.
Yeah.
Reality of the job.
Yep.
Okay. Black and white.
We also have a list.
Close, but we don't have time for all my positives. So just try to pick one.
So I would say your faith in Jesus is the most important.
That sounds like a mark.
So if we're gonna go out,
Actually, consensus.
as a consistent, but I would say you're advocating. You advocate for this company. You are the brand. So you set a good example on that.
Okay.
And then
My sin, they grow.
yeah, hey, it could be. No, I think this is kind of both. You need to be able to sit on it. Impulse buys.
Today, for example.
Yeah.
Impulse buys, unless they're fun or they benefit people.
I mean, yeah, there's always exceptions.
Like puppies.
Yeah.
That was a good one. I like that one.
Okay, sit on it. Purple.
We also use communication. I think that you, like on job sites and stuff, when like stuff gets a little dicey, I think that you stand up for us. And I mean, like it's also like just talking with customers and stuff, and yeah, like what Mark said, being the face of the brand. Also, I think that your grow is also communication as well. I think that with like them saying like mood swings are very, sometimes you speak your mind without thinking about what you're gonna say. And I have one extra one, and that will be being attentive behind the wheel.
Brandon gets a flow for speaking his mind, and I get a grow for speaking his mind. That's not fair. He's older. Gray?
We think that you are good at growing leaders. Just in general, you're very good at teaching and giving us information. And then grow, setting like clear expectations, because as everybody said, on the job side it's different. We know what GCs want, we know what project leaders want, but sometimes you might react a different way. So just more clear expectations.
Okay. Thank you guys for doing this. We got flows. Good job. Grows. There's clear expectations for my role. I own outcomes. Feedback is a gift from you guys to me. If we had to navigate all these grows together, there's a lot here, but when we think about what's one thing, if I want to be a great leader for this business in the next 52 weeks, the next year, what's the one thing that's going to have the biggest impact for the focus? So all these are good. I understand they're all important, but is there one condensed way that we would call this like the 52-week focus area so that we can measure and say, hey, I can tell that Nick is getting better at this? How would you?
Clarity. I don't know if it's a good word or
Communication.
Clarity, what was the other one?
Communication.
Accountability.
I think you already said it, even keeled.
So does a more even keeledness capture all those?
Respond over react.
Respond over react. So a quick reaction, whether it's in communicating or just a thumbs up, is not going to be as good as describing thoroughly.
Yeah, I second that.
Yeah. So respond over react. Quick trigger is taken care of because quick trigger comes from reacting. Mood swings are reacting to how I feel in the moment. I'm either really happy or really pissed. There's no mood in between those two. Situational memory. I'm going to have to look at some new supplements and blame generational. What's it called when you don't have a memory? Alzheimer's. That runs in my family.
Something like that.
I can't remember. Clear communication. Respond rather than react. I respond. No thumbs up because that's not bringing clarity to you guys. So I have to clearly communicate intent more thoroughly. Realities of the job. Trying to listen, to respond rather than just going in and making an assumption. Sit on it. Respond rather than react. Communication, speak mind. Can be a positive when done by Brandon Coe. He probably has more tact than I do, so that's probably why he gets the compliment. And then set clear expectations by responding rather than reacting. So that could be my 52-week focus. Respond rather than react. Helps shore all this up while it doesn't impact these. Okay, and how did we end up on money?
$23.
Okay. And I think I let a couple slip here. So we'll just round up to 25.
Round up to 25.
25 seems to be an easy payout method.
I was counting.
If everyone could just clock out 1 hour early today, that would be great.